And a good morning to you once more, Lagos. You're tuned in and listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1.
Missed everyone, and I'm sure that my good friends on social media will be back soon.
Yes, Bruta. Oh gosh, so many variations of your name are coming through this morning. You best believe that. And Lagos, most importantly, we've got you out there. Now, do remember that we are streaming live on YouTube, so giving a big wave and a hello to all our YouTube live streamers. Just go to youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos, and you can see our gorgeous, smiling, just beaming faces in here. The dome of Brutalistics is reflecting as it usually does in a very nice way. You can also tweet at us. We appreciate this morning. Send in your comments to us using the hashtag LockerRoom981. And of course, there is our WhatsApp number, which most of you already have, and I'll give out again as we continue through the show. So let's start with our first story of the day, shall we? Now, local organizing committee chairman for the 21st African Athletics Championships, Solomon Ogba, has assured that the competition will not be hindered as events roll out today. Asaba 2018, we are here. And now they say was somehow caught in the traffic as the logistics of accommodating and transporting athletes and coaches ran into a bit of a snag. Ogba was quoted as saying, "Why don't you wait till Wednesday and see whether things will not work out?" And when he was pressured with comments about the development, and he said if the equipment come on time will be installed. However, there are other alternatives on standby. Other alternatives.
And the no punch, absolute shambles. Because when you're doing a tournament of this nature, it's a time to host a tournament of this magnitude. And when you look at the lineup of people coming to be a part of this tournament, we're talking Mari Josie Tak, who is 100 meters and 200 meters world silver medalist. We're talking Casta Semenya. We're talking with Van Nika. We're talking great people on the African continent gathering in Africa, gathering in Nigeria. And we're talking
Nigeria generally. Let's not just limit it to. I mean, they should have had test of your bode well for anyone. No one can take you serious. And then when you look at us at home and you tell us that you take planning and preparation seriously for a tournament, let's say the Olympics is probably just around the corner now, and then they've been telling us since 3 years ago, right after the failure of the last one, that planning was going to begin then. Now we understand what their idea of planning means. Wait till Wednesday. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that.
Okay, this one's about the sports ministry. The sports ministry has asked that an NFF Extraordinary Congress slated for Benin City on August 2nd be put on hold as it will be an affront to on-court orders. Now, in a letter dated 2018, country's permanent secretary, Olu Shade Adeshola, the NFF has warned in very clear terms to desist from any gathering to discuss a matter that is before the Federal High Court just. And says in part, refer you to number pending before the Federal High Court just and subsisting enrolled order from the same court to Ambassador Chris Giwa as the NFF president and restraining Mr. Majipinik, all purportedly elected as members of the executive committee of the NFF on 30th September 2014.
I mean, every time I think about this, I just wonder which of the words the sports ministry understand. Is it the interference or is it the external? Because FIFA act very clear and very concise with what they say about interference in football. I mean, we do not want people who are not sports people. You cannot be taking football matters to a civil court. And it's very clear. I do not that the part, because clearly there are people who don't love our football, who don't love our sports, because FIFA are going to ban Nigeria if you keep doing this. And the rippling effect is that the league will not go on, and there are thousands of footballers playing in this league, feeding their families, putting food on their tables.
Okay, so here's the question: I have of general interference from the seeing it for years, right?
Exactly.
And FIFA have been warning. Everyone has been come down hard, but they haven't. Now, my question is, why have they delayed, or why do you think perhaps they've delayed so long in taking concisive action to prevent this from happening? Because if they'd done it as soon as the infraction started, perhaps we would have already resolved this issue, would have gone over this hump.
I think Amaju Pinnick has got a very good relationship with FIFA, and by extension, Nigeria's got a relationship with FIFA, and I think they're just giving us a benefit of the doubt. I just think they're looking at Nigeria and thinking, let's just see if they are going to really come to a round table and sort this out once and for all. But it looks like it's lingering on. It looks like people are brewing more trouble, and it looks like the ministry unbelievable, really. It's quite unbelievable because a couple of weeks back, or last week, we heard there was a directive from the presidency that things should to normal, but it does look like it's not going to return to normal soon.
Right, it's a fundamental comprehension issue within the sports ministry. It's
Yeah.
But thank you very much for that, Monday. As we move on, let's talk some tennis. Now, Murray was looking a little tired, but he sort of scaled through. So Andy Murray has converted his 7th match point to beat Mackenzie McDonald in 3 sets and set up a second-round tie against fellow Brit Kyle Edmund at the City Open. Now, McDonald, who's age 23, by the way, broke 2 of Murray's opening 3-service games and wrapped up the first set 6-3-9 and the second for a 5-4 lead and serving out the set. And Murray did tell newsmen it was a tough match. It could have gone either way. And obviously, if you lose a match like that, it's a tough one. I made a few little adjustments here and there, but mentally, it was a big one to get through. Will he make it all the way, Brutalistics? Will he?
Well, if he does, that would be a really big thing. But I think he's at a stage where I think I read an article a couple of days ago where he said that it seemed like he was starting to learn tennis all over again with all of this.
And this is a former world number 1.
Yeah, and I watched bits of that match. I feel like, and I worry that he was trying a little too hard in that game to try and prove that everything is okay. The intensity for me with which he played that game, my worry is that he may aggravate or probably impact negatively his path to recovery. And when you do that, then in terms of his legacy as a one-time British number 1 and all he's achieved may just go down the toilet pretty quickly. I worry that he's doing too much too soon. I think that his idea of trying to move so far in the tournament, look, if you're able to get through 2-3 games and you get out at this stage, just take that and then build from it. But I worry that pressure of being British number 1 at a time and that wanting to get back so soon, I don't want him to make the kind of mistakes that would impact negatively on his career.
I'm glad you mentioned that pressure, because just before we move on, I have to ask, because we know that before, of course, Andy Murray became a world number 1, it was a very long path for him to get there, and a lot of it was stuck in his head, in his mental space. So I wonder, do you think there is a mental element now, having come back from an injury, perhaps he will suddenly be feeling those old feelings of, am I gonna make it? Are my best moments behind me?
Yeah, that mental pressure, I think, has also partially contributed to the interruptions with his preparation, path to recovery. And my worry with it right now is he feels that he's at a point where if he doesn't do it now, he's worried that he's not going to do it. And he's not applying the same, I worry that he's not going to apply the same sort of logic that Roger Federer has used in managing his tournaments, picking and when. That pressure is compelling him to get in too fast, too soon, and I worry that somewhere along the line he either won't recover fully or will never get back to that 100%
where he used to be.
Oh, goosebumps. Lagos, you are listening to The Locker Room on Smooth Breakfast. It's with Kayode Bakare. You can find him at Kayode Bakare up on Twitter. You can find a Monday Iniobong as a Monday_Iniobong up on Twitter. And of course, Brutalistics is simply at Brutalistics up there. Make sure you send us your messages on Twitter using the hashtag LockerRoom981. As we take a very quick break, when we come back, we're jumping into your messages and of course more sports stories. Keep listening to Smooth Breakfast. Nice one, gentlemen. Nice one.
Not bad.
It's just flowing so sweet. I love it.
So you just appear, then Val just disappears.
Yeah. That's how we do it. Just shakers. It's good.
Mr.
No fun. How's everything?
How do you go for flex come back?
Please, next time.
Work.
See that country. Somebody should be doing their video
Yeah.
at least once a year.
Okay, this is South Africa. This thing. Yeah, living that life. It's good. Benga Kamu says this is about 2018 fiasco. How did we get here? Athletes stranded in Lagos, aircraft cannot land in Asaba after 5. It's clear that we can't take care of little things. Just pathetic. We're an actual shambolic country. It's sad.
That's why I never understand when people say host the World Cup.
Because we're not
who is
ready
saying
now.
it?
We
Who
can't
are
wait.
they?
We will not be
Maybe
ready
give
in
us 10
50 years.
We
No,
are
no.
not. We don't have
We
rights.
will not be ready. We will not be ready in 50 years. That's what we say. I used to have this argument with my father. My father would tell me.
don't have
My father used to tell me 20 years ago, Nigeria will be better.
Look at how long
Nigeria
it
will
has
be better.
taken.
Do you know it has gotten worse?
Look at how long it has taken Aimba to complete
A stadium.
the rehabilitation of a stadium.
Not building of a
Yes.
stadium.
Not building of rehabilitation. The cost, I'm told, some people are arguing that what you have used to rehabilitate,
You could have built a stadium.
done another stadium from scratch. So who's fooling who here? And then, okay,
It's the administrators now. They know what they're doing.
the airport in Asaba can't take flights. Great. You have Benin Airport. So you can't use your churchmen to fly them in
And then
there
drive them
and
in.
arrange.
And
It's
have
about
shuttles.
an hour.
Yes.
And have
Shuttle them
shuttles
through.
run across. You know, it's silly. I think you're talking about administrators. Listen, I believe that our problem is far beyond that. It is a deep-rooted
Oh yeah.
lack of will to achieve things. People are
I think so.
inefficient and incompetent from top to bottom.
Yep.
Because even when you have administrators that are focused and you bring in people from the private sector, oh, let's do this, and you get to your location where people are supposed to be working.
Incompetence.
They're
And they're
sleeping.
just tired. Yeah.
Incompetence is everywhere.
It's incompetence. It's horrible. It's
like
horrible,
you said,
and
it's
and
ingrained.
incompetence in this country is always excused. There's always a reason. Oh, it's because you know how I feel about these things. I'm like,
Yeah.
there should not be. No, just do it. I don't want to hear stories. Just get it done. How can you get it done? Get it done. Oh, yeah, the reasons. There's always a reason. Always a reason. We don't want to do it. Not serious. Because we like to point fingers. No, it's that person's fault. That person.
It's not my fault. I don't
And
have
that
the
I would have
blame.
done it, but did you not see the other thing the other person did? Wow. Guys, I want to say pray for Nigeria, but the prayers have been saying before I was born. So I don't really know.
He said we conduct elections with mobile policemen and army. We fight terrorism with prayers.
Please, we're back in. I can't
Thirty
laugh.
thousand,
So you fight terrorism in prayers.
30,000 armed forces personnel for Ekiti State. Then the problem is Zamfara State. You're sending 1,000 strong people to go and face that problem
That's,
in an area with a landmass that is probably twice the size of Ekiti.
All right, studio, mics are up. Oh yes, this is Lagos and we are the sound of Lagos. You're listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1 right now. It is about 8:29. We're talking sports inside the locker room. It's a full complement of sports pundits in here. Kayode Bakare, we have Monday Iniobong, and we've got Brutalistics as well as we jump into our next set of stories.
Okay, so Jose Mourinho is back in the news once again, and this time he says he didn't learn anything from Manchester United's pre-season tour because he already knows about his players. It's been a topsy-turvy trip to the USA for the United manager, who has had complaints about most things when he was asked, including in Miami, in the International Champions Cup. Although Mourinho still does not believe he has gained any knowledge about his first team players, and the quote here says, "I didn't learn anything from the tour. I know what Ander, Juan Mata, and Alexis Sanchez are."
Mourinho's been like a kid who's sulking over toys, and it does look very interesting. And like we've talked about it over and over again, Jose Mourinho is a very smart guy. He knows what he wants, but it does look like he's not getting what he wants from the Manchester United boardroom. They're not spending the cash and splashing the cash, and he's extremely very frustrated because when he considers what the likes of Liverpool are doing, who already spends in the excess of £180 million, and of course Man City and what Arsenal have done, Chelsea are going out there to buy players, and he's worried that his side may not necessarily be able to compete next season, and that's why he's mourning. He's talking about the fact that his players had not back from the World Cup. But again, you look whose players are back, because you're looking at City, who had 7 players at the semi-final stage of the World Cup. You're talking Belgium, who had 8. You're talking Tottenham, who had 8 players at the semi-finals of the World Cup. So Jose Mourinho is just complaining, and I think it's just trying to be classic Mourinho, deflecting attention from the subject matter. And the subject matter is, would you compete for the title next season? Would your team be able to win the title next season? And it's just deflecting attention, in my opinion.
In my opinion, I think here's the thing. Last season he spent over an excess of 100 million as well, and
He didn't win anything.
He didn't win anything. I mean, so if they're going to give him more money like they've given Liverpool and also Man City, do you think that something can change, even if it's an FA Cup?
I think Mourinho is looking at what his rivals are spending. Because in all honesty, if you're going to compete with Man City, you've got to throw the cash. Because the cash would buy you sensational players. Because when you talk about winning, people talk about buying the title, buying trophies. I don't think you buy trophies, but you buy players and trophies. So Mourinho clearly is thinking of, give me the money, let me spend, let me buy players who can compete with City and Real Madrid and Barcelona in Europe and all of that. He's not going to get that, and he's clearly said he's not going to get that, and that's why he's very frustrated.
Give us free. That is Mourinho's cry right now. Lagos, going to your messages, I see them coming in up on WhatsApp as Brutalistic just holds his head in his hand, just fully why. Benga Kamu says this Asaba 2018 is a total fiasco. How did we get here? Athletes stranded in Lagos, aircraft that can't land in Asaba after 5. It is clear that we cannot take care of the little things, and that is just pathetic. While JJ from Mushi just sends in lots of rolling laughing faces, saying, are we surprised? We prefer to hold prayers instead of putting our hands to work. I beg, welcome to Nigeria, African athletes. We will take your breath away. The surprises are just beginning. Get your popcorn, African delegates. We are not the biggest movie industry in Africa for nothing. Wait till Wednesday. What rubbish. We've got this in also coming in from Cruz, who says, I wish I could say I was horrified by the news about the athletics competition we are hosting. But anyways, good morning, people. Welcome back, Baba Bruta. Look at that. They're already coming through. And we've got this one in from Kayode, who says, must we host this as Asaba 2018? We're just giving ourselves national disgrace. Dalong will not say anything about this hosting impunity now. Is to bag you out and laugh when professional footballers kneel down to him to collect their allowances. This is Nigeria. Sad stuff. Up next, though, let's talk about Inter Milan, who have made contact with Real Madrid midfielder Luka Modric as his agent over a move. Now, Modric is understood to be open to the move after initial discussions took place with the midfielder's reps, and Inter, who are actively pursuing the midfield targets as priority, will compete in the Champions League for the first time in 6 years this season after a final day victory over Lazio.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do we make of this? It seems as if first you lose Zidane, you bring in Lopetegui, who appears not to be everyone's cup of tea. He seemed to be a far of left field appointment, and there seems to be turmoil within that nucleus of what made Real Madrid what it was. Now you lose Cristiano Ronaldo, and now there's the potential of losing someone who's been critical to the success that Real Madrid have had largely in that midfield area, and that's translated to success in Ronaldo and those two. This would be really bad for Real Madrid. I mean, it's bad enough that you've lost Zidane. No one is really sure how Lopetegui is going to play out. Real Madrid's performances thus far in preseason have not inspired that much confidence. And when you look at what their rivals Barcelona have been doing in the transfer market compared to what Real Madrid have been doing, this is not the kind of time that Real Madrid fans will be looking and saying, we'll be happy to let this guy go. So there's a lot that Florentino Perez and the likes need to do to keep him happy. And let's hope that it's not just a bad case of him being holidaying in Italy, and then these guys seeing him that, look, let's have a word with you. And then he suddenly starts thinking, he's looking at something here about it. There's a problem in Real Madrid that has not been addressed and needs to be addressed.
Okay, so let's talk about Liverpool's new goalkeeper, Alisson. He has trained with the Liverpool first team for the first time, and he says he already feels at home. Now, he says, a quote here says, it has been a great day, which I had been looking forward to. I've had a good few resting days with my family, but we all couldn't wait for the season to get underway. It's only my first day and I feel at home. My first impression tells me that it wouldn't be difficult for me here. It's a great squad formed by great players and brilliant professionals, and I'm sure it's going to be a great season for us all.
Liverpool have got for themselves a top-class goalkeeper, really top-class goalkeeper, and it's quite exciting. I was reading a story about him when he was quite young and his parents were trying to pull him out of football and tell him to continue his studies. A mentor convinced the parents to allow him play because he had a soft spot for biscuits and drinks and all of it. So he was a bit chubby and he wasn't growing at the heights that they expected. But the mentor convinced the parents and said, please allow him play football, allow him, he will come through. And I mean, £65 million for a goalkeeper, the most expensive goalkeeper in history. I mean,
biscuits was working for him that time.
I'm hoping that the parents would go to the mentor now and say, we've got a couple of millions of pounds for you, because he's come out great guy, absolutely great
It's not
guy.
gonna happen, though.
I think he would do well for Liverpool, because last season Liverpool's Achilles heel, apart from the defense, was the fact that the goalkeepers were letting them down. Look, Carriers and of course Mignolet didn't quite show up to the level you expect from a top club like Liverpool. So they've got themselves a top class goalkeeper. It's come at a price, £65 million.
All right.
Okay, very interesting stuff there. Some more messages are coming in, so let's see if we can take a couple more before we move on. This one is from Olumide Adeni, who says that I simply don't understand the logic of why the sports minister is still retaining his position. And says probably by the end of the show, he would be duly and justifiably fired, period. Will he, though? Will he? Chimabi Victor from the Emirates High Chimabi says Real Madrid are sleeping on a bicycle, because it says this is Nigeria hashtag Asaba 2018, no comments. Look how we hosting now. Look how we hosting indeed. Okay, moving on now. Gareth Bale can help fill the void left by Cristiano Ronaldo's departure from Real Madrid. That's what Spanish side's new coach Julen Lopetegui is saying. Now, Wales forward Bale had been linked with a move from the Bernabeu after failing to hold down a regular first team spot under previous coach Zinedine Zidane last season, and they're quoted as saying Gareth Bale is a magnificent player with so many qualities, he can help fill the void.
Well, you would hope he can. I mean, the way he finished last season with those really important goals in the Champions League for Real Madrid appeared to offer an indication of the potential that he has. However, he has not always been Madrid fans' favorite cup of tea, largely through his poor injury record, which has stifled the realization of whatever potential he may have. Now, with Ronaldo moving on to Juve, that creates an opportunity for him to start. But can he cope with the pressure and the amount of responsibility that comes with stepping in to fill that void? That is not a void, it's a chasm that Ronaldo has created there. I worry that the pressure of that may make him even less fancied by Madrid fans if he doesn't step up to the plate. And make no mistake, Real Madrid have not made the requisite investment required to offer fans any hope. And there's a distinct worry that they might be really left behind in the absence of Cristiano Ronaldo leaving Real Madrid has changed the game and the face of La Liga right now. And if they don't address filling that gap and just relying on him, I fear that pressure might be a bridge too far for him.
So are we seeing an Isco or maybe someone else in the midfield,
Is who?
On that note, let's just take a very quick break. When we come back, it'll be for the final few minutes talking sports here inside the locker room. Of course, you are listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1.
Is Isco not his better replacement any day?
Again,
Isco doesn't have those numbers.
not yet.
But Isco was his
Isco is a
replacement.
fancy footballer.
Not yet.
Doesn't have the
What
mentality.
Madrid, what Madrid need now is somebody who is going to guarantee them goals
Simple.
and goals and goals.
Winning.
And looking at it right now, they don't have that
Benzema.
person.
Yeah.
They don't have that person.
And even in world football, where would you go and get a player now
Really.
that can guarantee you 30,
Yes, the
40 goals
final story.
in a
So
season?
you have the final one.
Lewandowski maybe, but
Even he, it would. I believe it would take him some time to adjust to the way
because the
Madrid plays.
pressure at Real Madrid is not the same at Bayern.
No.
It's not the same at Manchester United.
It's not for children.
The pressure at Real, because the Real fans are fickle.
They are.
They're fickle.
It doesn't take a lot for them to bring out white handkerchief.
Exactly. So it's quite going to be difficult for Bale, and Bale is not a centre forward. That's another thing. Ronaldo was able to get into that centre forward role because of his appetite, because of his personality.
Winger.
But Bale,
He plays more from the wide areas and all that stuff. And
Bale is a
what-
direct winger.
Yeah.
So
So except he changes the way he plays, and even that takes some adjusting to when you're converting a player from the wide.
You should
area
just
to
read
that
out like
center.
a line or two because of the time when we come back, yeah. Righty. I was wondering when this was going to happen. You are fucking allowing people to print 3D guns that can pass through metal detectors. You are foolish. How many people have died from the people using these foolish things? Ah, come on. Do you know how dangerous these things are? Because you can't detect them. They're real guns. They fire actual bullets. Yes. These 3D guns, they're freaking lethal.
So
And the worst part is, depending on the kind of printer that you get, there could be imperfections in the gun as well. So you could actually misfire and kill people, unintended victims. But the scariest part is you can't detect the gun.
It's crazy. So anybody can have it in their suitcase.
The-
Airports, crossover.
If you go online and just
Shoot
look for
people.
3D gun prints, you see schematic everywhere. So it's up to you.
Wow.
So they're not selling you gun, they're just telling you how to make the gun. So you can go and find a 3D printer
Then
and print
print
a
it
gun.
out. Wow, that's crazy. They should stop the production of that song. They should stop it.
America is a special
It can't even
country,
work
Joe. I can't deal. It's a special country.
Download the iInvest app now from the Google Play App Store or at i-invest.
3D guns. We're back in, guys. Studio, mics are up. Indeed, all the smooth operators are in the building right about now for the final few minutes talking sports inside the locker room. Kayode Bakare, please take it away.
Okay, so for our final story, our Charlie Adam has, he's voicing out something that's on most people's minds. He's saying that Liverpool are one or two players short of having a team capable of winning the Premier League. And here's a big question, Brutalistics. Do you think he can actually, Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, they can do this with the new signings, Shaqiri and the likes?
Dude, they better. Is all I can say. You cannot spend the kind of money that has been spent over the last couple of seasons and not guarantee. This is not a case of
A
like
trophy or...
No, make no mistake. Look, if they don't win the Premier League this season, as far as I'm concerned, Jurgen Klopp has failed. Trophy. You can't spend the kind of money. A goalkeeper who, in my opinion, may face the curse of Liverpool, because the two keepers that have been there were not bad until they got there. You know, so I don't believe that. Currently, I think that the Liverpool team has a fairly balanced team. They've got an adequate number of centre backs. They got lots of attacking options. I don't think that they need more players. What they need to do is be able to guarantee a measure of tactical discipline, sustained, especially defensively. They have no problem going forward. They seem to have the same problem that Arsenal had under Arsene Wenger. Fantastic going forward, but they can't maintain defensive discipline, and that is the difference between being a champion and not. They don't need more players, they just need a little more discipline. Does Klopp have that tactical discipline defensively? Something tells me he doesn't, and that is what may cost them in the long run.
And on that note, we've come to the end of the locker room for this morning. I want to say a very big thank you to Brutalistics for showing up today. Of course, Iniobong Monday, thank you so much for coming in. Always a pleasure, or it's been a fantastic pleasure having you. And of course, Kayode Bakare for being here as well. Now, just before we round up, we've got messages coming in. And man, listen, why are we having headache over Sabah 2018? Athletes are yet to see Wahala. They should just find one Amala Sports. Eat plenty Amala with a Wedu Afang soup, dance shaku shaku all day jaw. And also ask, have Tega and Valentine defected from our locker room party? No, they've not defected. Tega is out in Asaba, so make sure you follow her, of course, on her Twitter handle. You can find out more about what's going on over there. And Val's taking some much needed downtime as well. When we come back on Smooth Breakfast, it will be inside the 9 o'clock hour, and we will be having a Lagos Talk special from 9 down till 9:40. We'll be taking a look at pensions, taking a look at the recent rise in our pension numbers, and of course talking to someone coming in from Penop who will give us a breakdown on exactly how pensions affect all of us. You should be interested because we all want to retire rich. This is the plan. Lagos, keep listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fine, no, it was great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you,
thanks,
thank
man.
you.
Thanks.